It's a yes bank maximum, the first of this contest. Oh, that is brilliant. It's a hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Welcome back to the Maximum Cricket Podcast, episode 39. My name is Munter, and we have a huge podcast for you today. India cheat and make Australia bat on a doctored pitch, and then took that pitch out so they could make 400, and then they put the shit pitch back, and then won the game. We have a new segment where around being able to trade players between international teams. Baz Ball is in New Zealand, and we have dealt with cricket here from the UK to help us dive into the preview. They have some takes, that's for sure. And, of course, we have Snack Draft. But we have Lugsy and Jacko here. And everyone wants to know, Jacko, that train roll on?
Yeah. Did had another good win yesterday. So
beautiful.
Yeah, the train keeps moving. So hopefully no stops on the horizon. But you never know with cricket. So we'll just keep playing our brand. And, yeah, hopefully it keeps paying off for the boys.
A few polls or?
4 for the weekend. So that was nice.
He keeps on rolling, the old boy.
Surprised you didn't leave with that, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, happy with that, which is good.
Lugsy, and how you hanging?
Big one last night. I don't want to. I feel like I'm coming on this pod every week, and I'm gonna start sounding like a real alcoholic. But it was a large one. It was a large one at the Emerson's Brewery for Simon. So, but yeah, recovered well, doing fine.
Beautiful. Right, we'll crack into a bit of Aussie India. Obviously, by now everyone will know that Australia have been absolutely poleaxed by India in the first test by an innings and 132 runs inside 3 days. I've listed here a few points we could dive into. The combination of Jadeja, Patel, and Ashwin with bat and ball is unbeatable in India. Australia dropped Travis Head for Matt Renshaw, who is not only also left-handed, he made 2 runs in the entire test match. Loki, they probably still would have lost, but that's neither here nor there. Todd Murphy is now the best off-spinner Australia has ever produced. And lastly, Rohit Sharma would be the best batter since Bradman if he could play every test in India. Boys, what is your biggest takeaway from the first test?
Yeah, so probably biggest takeaway is after that, if that's what Aussie's right-handers were doing, Travis Head definitely a pair. So right decision to drop the number 4 or 5 test batsmen in the world for me. Fucking stupid really that was. And I hope they sort of right that ship pretty quickly and bring him back in because, you've got to play your best batters no matter what the conditions and give back them to problem solve out there. So yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. Just what an absolute howler that was.
Yeah, fair call, I think there. Obviously it's made to look even worse by the sort of the second innings, especially performance I put in. And unfortunately Renshaw sort of not delivering anything there. It's just hard because it's one of those series where, and I'm sure it might get a bit closer, but you're like, could Aussie keep this close and could they go all right? Yes. But are you that surprised when India just done what India do in India and just rolled them? It's sort of not an unsurprising result, as big a sort of victory as it was. They're just so good in their conditions. It's just very hard to see them getting beaten at the moment.
It's the magnitude, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, of course. You can't accept getting rolled for 90. I think Scotty Boland was probably pretty unlucky. I think he bowled a really good couple of spells there, and on another day may have got 3 or 4. But yeah, India just far too strong, really, aren't they?
I think the big difference is the quality of India's spinners. It's night and day with every other team in the world. No one, a lot of teams can arrive with one spinner, they'll have one good spinner, and then India have 3. And it's an all-out assault. And even Lyon's obviously, he's world-class, but he's yet to figure out how to bowl in India. He's yet to bowl these side spinners. Even Todd Murphy was able to figure it out before Lyon has, and he hasn't, it's his first test. Whereas, Jadeja is literally just darts. He just throws in darts, and he doesn't know if they're going to spin or not, but he's so accurate, and it's so quick, and it's nothing you can do about it. I don't know how. The last team to beat them in a series was England in 2011, 2012, whatever it was, and they had Graham Swan and Panesar. They had 2 genuine threats. Whereas since then, it hasn't been the case. Because when they provide like a pitch like this, it's night and day between the teams because they can go out and they can still score runs. It's not a complete dust bowl, but obviously there is turn there, and it showcases their talents so much.
It just shows too that like every other Test team like plays one spinner and they get used to Test cricket, and that's sort of like your whole country is. All your spinners in your country are fighting for one position, whereas in India it's almost the opposite. It's your country of seamers are fighting to bowl 4 overs with the new ball and 4 overs with the reversing one. So yeah, they're just wealth of bowling their spinners do at the elite level to good batters, and then to be able to make like a pretty good Aussie Test side. Like we were talking, that order could be one of the great Test teams. Just made them look like school kids basically. Yeah, pretty phenomenal, just like a real yardstick of how good India are in India.
It doesn't hurt, obviously, that their batters are pretty adept at playing spin bowling as well. So, when you go over there as a spinning bowler, you've sort of got a lot of pressure to use these conditions like the Indian bowlers can, but you're still bowling to some of the best batsmen in the world at playing your craft. So it is a difficult task as well for the bowlers that have to do it.
They didn't all score runs. It was only really Sharma, Jadeja, Patel, and Ashwin. Surprisingly, not surprising actually.
Yeah, it was actually a big fight there.
Yeah, I do wonder if it's like if say Jadeja was bowling at Rohit Sharma, if he could have that same success. Like I think it's like India's spinners are just so relentless that there's almost nothing you can do. You can't bat properly. You have to do something outside the box. Maybe like Travis said.
Yeah, because even on day one, like the old gift that keeps giving Junior was sort of talking in that first session like it wasn't doing much. I was like, this is still doing plenty from what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, Marnus and Steve Smith played well and dug in, but I sent a message I was like, I just simply can't see them like surviving this. Like, it's still doing a lot, and you've got to get quite a bit of luck. A few balls have to, instead of taking the edge or finding the pad, they just need to go past it. You need a bit of luck, but it just seemed like they were going to have to be so locked in for so long.
Yeah, it sort of mirrors early season club cricket in Dunedin, doesn't it? Like that first couple of weeks on grass, it's like going to seam and do all sorts. So you might as well go for a slog, see what you can get, because one's got your name on it at some point. Like you can't actually win a test match in India through attrition. Like you can't just sit there and block and wait for a bad ball, because one, their spinners don't really miss, and two, like the good ball you're trying to keep out, one is just going to do something you can't do anything with, and that's your day done. And when that happens 10 times in a session, you bowled out for 90 with egg on your face.
Yeah, you're right about their batsmen though, Munter. It's a good point, because they used to say that about the Aussie team as well. Like everyone wanted to see how like your Mark Walls and your Steve Walls and Gilchrist and Ponting would all go against their attack. So obviously something we're never going to see, but it's obviously very helpful that they don't have to face these guys.
Unless you grow up or you play a lot in those conditions through A tours or whatever like that, and those subcontinent tours like maybe Sri Lanka. Just I don't know how like teams from like England, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, whatever, can actually think that they can go to India and beat India at their game. Like, there's no way that you can't, like, unless you're, like, Steve Smith looks so much better than everyone else. He obviously can do it. He's got the technique and things like that. And I'm not going to act like I know exactly how to play that sort of stuff, because I've never done it, never will. But it just feels like you need to play a brand outside the box. You probably need, dare I say it, Baz Ball.
I feel like we were getting there eventually, weren't we? Where that was going to come up.
That's what I want to see next. I want to see Baz Ball in India.
Yeah, that's what the people want, isn't it? That's the Baz Ball World Tour of where is it going to be successful, and it's like India and maybe India are the only places to tick off. India and Aussie probably, where we haven't seen it like completely go ballistic. So yeah, maybe it is time for England, India, and India to see sort of who's king, India at home or Baz Ball anywhere else. Right.
Well, maybe we'll use this as a segue into our new segment. This is a Jackson Latham special. We haven't quite named it yet, but I've got here trade proposals, and basically it's kind of on the back of the wild trade in the Big Bash of all places. Not Kevin Durant going to Phoenix. No, it's the Big Bash trade. It's the Melbourne Stars. Adam Zampa is being traded for Sam Harper, the wicketkeeper from the Melbourne Renegades. It's a real sort of crosstown sort of trade there. But boys, before we get into how that relates to our awesome new segment, what a terrible trade for the Stars. I mean, you give up one of the best leg spinners in the world, and all you get back is, and I mean, like Harper's a pretty handy Big Bash player, but he averages 21 with a strike rate of 133. This is to me the equivalent of trading an all-star in the NBA for a decent role player. No picks, no other players. To quote our friend of the show, Bill Simmons, the Stars are getting 50 cents on the dollar here.
Yeah, it just feels like no one's changing homes for that period, is it? Like, it's not like you've traded them out of state to get rid of them or like really anything. Like, obviously something's gone on behind the scenes and someone's wanted to move. Sort of it feels like maybe Zampa said, I'm going to the Renegades, and they've tried to get sort of something back. But yeah, that's got to be maybe one of the more lopsided trades I've ever seen.
Yeah, great to have trades coming through though. Just feels like, there's not a lot you can do in cricket, I guess, or there's not sort of some draft picks we can throw in or something to try and sweeten this pie. Maybe behind the scenes they got something out of it that we're not aware of, but yeah, it seems an odd one for sure.
Renegade still sponsored by Mars. Do you reckon there's just like a container of chocky dropped off at the Stars?
Well, that would sweeten the deal.
Yeah.
Just another thing, because apparently they've got like a trade window, which I did not know at all. And this was sort of made outside that trade window. If this was the NBA, we're talking tampering. Like, I wonder if there'd be a bit of a crackdown on this sort of carry on.
Yeah, there has to be. You can't stand for that in the game. You got to stamp that out, surely. Yeah, wonder if Zampa passes his physical as well.
The old
pretty
physical,
grueling, is it? Or?
The old Gary Payton too.
Yeah, the old GP2. Can you sort of hop, step and bowl? But no, it's baffling from the Stars for me. Just never would think you'd trade like an international player for an international player. You'd be like fair, but yeah, to trade basically their best white ball bowler for someone I don't know if I've actually heard of them until that trade. That's just baffling.
That's never a good sign, eh? It's never a good sign.
Well, obviously knew I had no clue he was a wicketkeeper until you said that, by the way.
I had to look it up. I only found it when I looked at the article.
I had no clue.
Nah, definitely not.
Imagine like behind the scenes, like, who'd we get? We got Zampa. Who'd they get? Yeah, we're not sure. I don't know. There's some guy. We'll give him a quick info.
Yeah, we sent him someone.
Just a salary filler.
Yeah.
We'll sort of move on to like how this actually, like what this has to do with Aussie India, and I guess the segment is. So we basically, because like Lugsy sort of mentioned, there's not many things you can do in cricket, but we thought like hypothetically, if you do international trades, what would that look like? And you guys are about to find out because we're going to negotiate on behalf of some nations for some trades live on air. So this week, this week I'm going to be the GM for Australia after a pretty poor test, pretty desperate to turn things around. And I'm going to be negotiating with the GMs, Lugsy and Jacko, for India. And we're going to see if we can come up with a trade that can help both sides. You boys got any questions before I propose this trade?
You're going to have to be very good here because we don't need a lot.
That's you're coming to us with sort of Sam Harper, and we've got Adam Zampa sitting here, so hopefully we don't pull pin.
Okay. Look, guys, I'm looking at your squad. You know, it's an underutilized player. You guys are obviously rolling pretty good. Like your skipper is an opener. Your vice captain, he's another opener. So I wouldn't mind having a look at Shubman Gill. If you don't mind.
LeBron off us when he's 3 years into his career.
Look, I mean, LeBron will be playing.
We'll have Cummins, Cam Green, and Steve Smith. Thanks.
Minimum.
Oh, I mean, look, Warner looks like he needs Todd Murphy's glasses. He can't see the nut. And Aussie's like closer to 40 to 30. So the end is sort of nigh. Here's my first sort of proposal for you. How would you like the number 4 batter in the world?
Well, you're not even picking him, mate.
Skies.
What do you know that we don't? You're not even picking him.
Look, I mean, what do you got? Let's look at that middle order.
We'll hear the trade out first.
You got Sky. He's at 5. He's good at T20, but Test cricket, was it really for him? How would you like Travis Head in that middle order to bolster up? Let's think about away as well. Kohli, Pujara, they're on their way out. How about Travis Head? He's in the prime of his career. I think a lot of teams would like Travie.
So you want Shubman Gill for Travis Head straight up, where we're going to play half our games where you won't even pick Travis Head.
So that's a no?
You're aware of the fact that you didn't pick this guy yesterday. So his value at the moment is not high in my world.
Yeah, that did hurt us actually. It would have been nice if he got a wee like quick 550 or something like that.
Yeah. I think India will say no.
You'll say no?
Yeah, initially.
I don't think you could get Travis Head's last name out before we hang up the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, what about what if we throw in what else we got? What if we throw in?
So Gill's your confirmed target?
I think if you look at the Australian squad, I think they need an opener. I think. But I'm just trying to think what we're willing to give up.
Look, I've seen that last test, mate, and you need more than an opener.
We've got to start somewhere. What about Cam Green?
Oh.
We like Cameron.
We do. He is tall.
Cam Green for Shubman Gill. No Travis.
We still need Travie here.
Yeah, yeah. You can't just throw Travis off the pile.
How valuable Cam Green is.
Cameron Green is safety.
Like we're talking about a guy that bowls at 140 Ks. You're talking about a guy that already averages 35 with the bat.
Yeah.
And he's very young. We're talking about genuine world-class all-round potential.
I'm not going to lie, Crom, I think we probably have to...
Well, with Travis Head as well, though.
Yeah. So we're getting rid... So we get Travis Head and Cam Green and you get Shubman Gill. I think we might do that.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, just Cam Green straight up. I don't... Travis Head... It's probably if you're going to get another player, we're talking it's a lower level. It's not Travis Head. Oh, that's 2 of our main 11.
Yeah, I think there'd be enough value to do Shubman Gill for Cameron Green, personally.
Yeah.
I think we'd need more because I think first of all, I think we'd be absolutely hung at the state if we gave away Gill from all the Indian fans.
Well, we've got Rohit.
I'm at the point with Gill though, where I feel like almost anyone straight up for him is probably not going to work. It's going to be hard because there's so much potential there. I don't think I'd want to miss out on that.
Yeah, maybe
Cam Green.
I reckon if you threw in.
Yeah, but Cam Green could be out. It could be done in 2 years. There's too much injury concerns. I'd have to put him for a serious fitness test.
Take him on one of your runs, you reckon?
Yeah, although I took a massive tumble down Signal Hill and I'm out of action for a while, so maybe I wouldn't take him with me.
Okay. We may have to leave it at that. I mean, I guess you guys are going to decide which is the main GM and who and which isn't. Do we need a third? Do we need a third team?
What's our second player we want, Crom? What else do we need to round things out? I wouldn't mind. Maybe like Lance Morris, the wild thing. Maybe a prospect. Just throw another prospect in there. Something we can take to the Indian people and say, look, we've lost Shubman, but we've gained Cameron Green and also this shiny new toy. So who's the shiny new toy? And if you say Sam Harper, I'm going to hang up the phone.
Someone who bowls rapid could be quite tasty for us.
That's
not only going to play, potentially play a couple of games at the World Cup for us, but also just be a bit of fun at the IPL.
Yeah. Bring some crowds in.
Lance Morris. You know what? I think we can do that. I've never seen the guy bowl.
Nah, neither. But apparently bowls quick. So
not great scouting, but it's one of those. It's one of those things where I'm sure, like, we're Australia. You know, we can produce another one, just like you guys can produce another Shubman Gill. You got to think about that.
I feel like, look, we're going to, for the sake of this, I think we'll take the deal. But I feel like the general public's going to say no to this.
Yeah.
Is going to say India wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, I mean, Shubman Gill at the moment he's as hot, like his trade value is as high as anything at the moment.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
Cam Green just didn't play the first test.
Yeah,
injured though. You know, he'll play.
That's not helping me. Him being injured.
Not a serious injury, just his finger. It's all right. He'll be back. So we settle on that then. We've got.
Yeah,
we'll call it into the league. Cam Green and Lance Morris for Shubman Gill.
Yeah,
I think you win on that huge.
Yeah, you're up big. I thought you were going to come trying to get Jadeja off us, to be fair.
I was first.
I thought you were going to put a Cam Green, like a Cam Green and a Stark or Hazelwood for like a Jadeja sort of package.
Yeah, but today I actually looked into it. Like Jadeja's like 34, and I'm like, do I want to lose Cam Green for like we've got 10 years of Cam Green for like
but
2 years
Jadeja would be handy for the next few tests.
He's not as handy away.
Yeah, but you're in the middle of a series in India, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, but just for the series. Yeah, right, I'm with you now.
Short-term
trade deadline, a wee rental. You obviously trade him at the end of the season.
A GM's job is to look into the future. You got to plan for the next few years. No, I think that worked out well. Pretty happy with that. Anything else you want to touch on with Aussie India?
Yeah, I just hope for a more competitive next test. Hopefully Aussies maybe back at a bit more full strength. Maybe Travis Head plays. And but a bit more of a competitive test would be nice.
Righto, just a real treat here for us at the Maximum Cricket Podcast. We have ourselves another guest, two guests even. They are here to help preview a very exciting test series between the Caps and an absolutely rampant England side. We have Munners and Tim from Dealt With Cricket, all the way from the UK. Been a long time coming, this collab, I must say. The fans, I'm sure, are very pumped. Boys, first of all, how cold is it up north? And secondly, yes, you're welcome for Brendan McCullum. And while we're here, Ben Stokes, you're welcome as well.
Well, thank you. Who'd have thought New Zealand have revolutionised English cricket?
Do we can?
It's been, it has been freezing cold. It's been a very cold winter, but we have been warmed by Baz Ball. And it's been sensational, hasn't it, Tim?
Yeah, it has. I'd just like to say that Ben Stokes did grow up in Cumbria, and I'd say all his cricketing nous and skill was honed by the Lake District. So, yeah, I don't think New Zealand can actually take that much from Ben Stokes. But Baz Ball and Baz, he has absolutely changed this country's outlook on Test cricket, and it's been superb, and I've loved every minute. So thank you to the people of New Zealand. Thank you, Brendan McCullum. And thank you, Brendan McCullum's dad as well, and his mum.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, the Ben Stokes one is obviously a little cheeky, although I will add that when he broke our hearts at the World Cup, he was nominated for New Zealander of the Year that year. So,
what was the thinking behind that?
I don't know. I can't say I was impressed.
You guys really, really overdo your humility sometimes, don't you? You do everything to just be the nice guys in the world.
And where has that got us?
The cracks have started to show recently, especially with that Kane Williamson bloke.
Claiming catches and whatnot. That's why he stopped getting captain, actually.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he just couldn't handle it anymore.
He's got the dog in him now, hasn't he?
Definitely. So you sort of touched on the Baz Ball vibes. Like what are the vibes back home, with this test team? Like, is the country getting in behind it? I know it's the winter at the moment, but 9 tests in 10, playing an amazing brand of cricket, just amazing stuff. New Zealand, we've gone 6 tests in a row without a win. We haven't won a test series since 2021. You guys dusted us up 3-0. So this test series should be a bit of a walk in the park, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's tough on you guys because you haven't had your usual 7-game series against Bangladesh to sort of show how good you are. But yeah, we're buzzing. It was weird. It was almost this feeling of deliriousness in the summer where we couldn't quite believe what was happening. Those sessions, like was it Bairstow at Trent Bridge, just hitting India into the short boundary consistently for about 2 hours, and it's almost a feeling of can't quite believe what's going on. But people, and this is no offence to New Zealand, but people have already started talking about the Ashes more than they're talking about this series about to happen. But it does feel as though, well, we're just inevitable. Baz Ball is inevitable. We're going to come over and do a job.
I think the thing for me is, like Munter said, I think it was so shocking. Like, we were in a run of form where I think we'd won 1 test in 10 under Joe Root and Chris Silverwood. We were playing pretty dour, drab cricket. And he's come in and, along with Ben Stokes, have kind of completely changed the way that we go about the cricket. And I think when you actually look at it on the surface, it's really simple. Really, really simple what they're doing. Like, I think the first time we did it was against you guys at Trent Bridge, and we were chasing, I think, 360 or whatever. Like, you'd go about that in a one-day game in a certain manner, but in a test match for some reason we wouldn't. I remember sitting at Lord's in, I think it was 2021, when I think Kane Williamson had set England a pretty fair declaration. I think we needed 240 from 70 overs, and we didn't go for it. Dom Sibley and Joe Root just batted out the overs. So, but what they're doing is they're making the game really, really simple, and I absolutely love what they do. I remember hearing a story about Brendan McCullum during the 2015 World Cup, where Owen Morgan was the England captain. He was having an absolute torrid time. I think we'd been battered by Australia, lost a few other games, and he went out for dinner with a couple of other players, and he was like, gee, I wouldn't want to be Owen Morgan. It's like he's 3 down already. And then he sort of like turned that on his head and said, well, what if he was 3 down for no runs at the start of the game? Well, I'd have 3 or 4 slips. And he went and did that. And I think England started nicking off and New Zealand bowled us out cheaply. That's all he's done, really. He hasn't actually changed loads of stuff. He's just made the game seem more simple and not complicated it. And I think the players have really thrived off that. And the public are loving it. It's very difficult not to get whipped up in it and caught up in it. And we've just got to enjoy it. It's not going to be around for long. It's going to be 2 or 3 years of fun with Stokes and McCullum. And we've just got to enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. And like you touched on that first series, and I just remember as a Kiwi fan, I just remember being in like a state of shock. Like, we set you guys 300 to win in 3 tests, and you normally think you'd win 2 out of 3 of those tests. So it's like, as a New Zealand fan, you think we're not that far off it, and maybe if we can actually plan for a Baz Ball rather than planning for like a test team, things might get a little different. Or will like this Baz Ball juggernaut just keep rolling on? Because at some point they've got to lose. At some point, and my theory would be that you'd rather lose to us than Aussie.
Yeah. Well, I think as well, in sport, you get second season syndrome a lot, don't you? I think, and especially nowadays with every game's on TV or on YouTube, etc. So teams will be frantically trying to work out, how do you play against this? And it's been around for 9 months or so. So I think you will start to see teams figure it out and find ways and be inventive around it. So I'm actually quite intrigued to see what New Zealand do, bowling wise, fielding wise, even batting. Are they going to try and match England? They probably won't, but how are they going to go about it? I think that's the most fascinating thing. And I do think teams will work it out and find ways to deal with it. It's just whether you can stop it, really, because if you've ever bowled in cricket, you know how hard it is if someone's coming at you every single ball to repeat your skill and land it, basically.
Can I just a note there, Matt? I think that was one of the most Kiwi things I've ever heard. You'd rather lose to us, wouldn't you?
Yep.
So yeah, it's real mentality. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, we would rather lose to you guys than the Aussies, but that's not what Baz Ball's about. We're mean. We're not nice guys anymore. We're sleeve tattoos. We're going to come over and just win, dominate.
couple of darts in the change room later, a few beers.
Yeah, exactly.
That sort of thing, just vibes. That's the McCullum way. Definitely. But I thought getting you guys on, I thought let's do like a combined 11 between the two sides. Let's see how close they are. I want to sort of put up a dealt with 11 versus a maximum cricket 11. Maybe let the public decide who might come out on top, and maybe we'll revisit these sides at the end of the Test series. And mainly just sort of we can pick apart the players and just have a good old yarn in between. So we'll start with the top. We'll go with the openers. So obviously you've got both openers dined out in Pakistan, didn't they? Crawley, Duckett just absolutely pumped it. Latham and Conway did the same thing. I guess the real question will be, Munners, how are you going to find a way to get Rory Burns in this side?
Listen, I've rumour has it Burns has been in the nets down at the Oval, just making himself the ultimate Baz Ball opener. I've got to say that it's amazing just how consistently people ask me about Rory Burns and how he's doing. I'm not actually a personal friend of Rory. I was just adamant that he was going to score a lot of runs in the Ashes. So I now don't make too many huge or sweeping predictions for major Test series, just in case it happens again. But I will say Zach Crawley's probably going to get 2 double hundreds in this series.
Okay, fair enough. So you'll lock him in and as one of the openers.
Yes.
And any particular other opener or?
I'd probably go with Ben Duckett.
Ben Duckett. Okay, fair enough.
I will let Tim have a say on our picks here as well. Because I think there might be a slight bias to my method. I appreciate he's probably on Cricinfo at the moment, checking stats. So what? Conway was another one, wasn't he?
Yeah, Conway and Latham will probably be up top for New Zealand. Obviously, Conway's one of the, I guess it's him and Bubba, the best all format players in the world right now. It's hard for me to leave him off the side. Latham really only scores runs in New Zealand, and since we're playing in New Zealand, I'm going to go Latham and Conway. But I appreciate the support for your home side.
When Ben Duckett is reverse sweeping opening bowlers, you'll know you made the wrong choice.
If that's happening again, well, buddy, I just got used to buddy Joe Root doing it every 5 seconds.
Yeah. I tell you what, there's obviously when Test matches are on over here in New Zealand, they're on quite late at night. I've just got so many memories of sort of like half falling asleep watching Latham bat. It's just one of those guys, the aesthetics of it, that kind of nuggety feeling about it all. God. It's going to be so obvious, the contrast between how magnificent Zach Crawley is and how bad the alternative is from New Zealand. But there you go.
And Tim, have you got a different sort of take, or are we riding with Munners?
Yes, I do, yeah. For those of you listening to Dealt With for the first time, Munners is perhaps the optimistic one and I'm the pessimistic one. Or realistic one, I don't know. Personally, I think it's very difficult to look... The yin and the yang, yeah. I think it's very difficult to look past Latham and Conway. But I'll stick with him. I'll back Zach and I won't crack. So we'll have Zach and we'll have Conway for me, is what I would go with. I get his point with Latham. We're going on brash bravado. That's why we're going with Big Zach. And Latham doesn't nick off enough for me. So Zach Crawley and Conway would be my choice.
Love it. Okay, right. Let's move on to.
But I'll side with Munners. I'll let Munners make the final choice on the old.
I think it's all right. It's all right, Tim. I'll let you have the openers because I think there's bigger decisions to come.
Yeah, it starts to get pretty real. So middle order, our 3, 4, or 5. We'll leave it at that. Look, I was going to have I think Root picks himself. He's in New Zealand. We don't really have a 4 for a start, so Root's obviously going to slot in there. There's an argument he's the best player in the world. Bat's left-handed too much for mine. But I did have a wee hot take I wanted to run past you guys just on Root actually.
Ooh,
I actually believe, here's a take, he's become a worse player under Baz Ball because he can actually bat properly while the others can't, so they have to whack it.
Tim?
You weren't prepared for that, were you?
No, not at all. I kind of see your point. Like, I think the reason why a lot of players for the England team are so aggressive is because they technically maybe can't bat time at the crease, whereas Root can. And I think he did have a ridiculous year, the year he was captain. So he's obviously not scored as many runs as 2021 in 2022, but I think he's still scored. I'm not one for stats, unlike Munter saying that I was all over Crick Info, but I'm pretty sure he still scored a big 100 against you guys in one of the test matches, maybe Trent Bridge, and I think he's still done pretty well. I don't think he's got to become a worse player. I still think he's the best batsman that we've ever produced in England of our generation. So, yeah, I kind of see your point on he's maybe not getting the best out of himself because he's not batting time, but still, he's mustard.
I think, Tim, as well, we'd rather a happy Joe Root that's scoring less runs. And, the burden that man was under when we were bad.
Oh, my God, he had to do everything.
He literally was doing everything, yeah.
He became a spinner for a while, didn't he?
It's like when he got that double 100 in India. And it was just like he's like bowling 30 overs, scoring double hundreds, captain in the side. Christ, he must have been a rough time. And we were a burden of a Test match cricket side at that time.
Good content. It was good content, like in terms of like, here's everything England was doing wrong. That was good. Now it's like, it's like England's changing cricket all of a sudden.
I think for me, I think you're looking at Williamson and Root, and that's just unbelievable 3 and 4 personally.
That's your lock, isn't it?
I think so. Munners is obviously a Surrey man, and he's incredibly biased towards Surrey, which is why he touted Rory Burns to score the most runs in the Ashes of anyone. So I'll let him talk about why Ollie Pope should be in this side.
Do you know some people are born destined for greatness? And Ollie Pope is one of them. He's one of those people that you would always put as maybe not your first, but certainly your second name on a team sheet in this instance, because you just know he is going to be one of the greatest Test match cricketers of all time. And coming from a man as well who doesn't look like he should be, just a wee, I've used wee because I'm on a Kiwi podcast, a wee ginger lad who has one of the most magnificent cover drives. Again, maybe I should just pick this batting order based on who plays the best cover drives, because Zach Crawley and Ollie Pope are up there. But he's just consistently brilliant in first-class cricket. I think he averages 99 at the Oval, and the Oval should be the only ground in the world where we play Test match cricket, but I can come back to that at another time. Trust me when I say, just give him as long as he needs in any side, and Ollie Pope will average 60 to 70 by the time he's finished playing Test match cricket.
He's had about 8 years already, Munners.
Yeah, how long do you think he's playing for?
He's only 19, isn't he? How old are you?
It's about 25.
I just think he's Ian Bell light. Like, it's just, he's just, it's like, he looks like Ian Bell, but he's not Ian Bell.
Yeah. I'd like you to dip your toe a bit further into Ollie Pope content. Go and have a look at some of his first class knocks, and you just think, Munners was right. He is incredible.
No, he's a good player, and even though, would you say he had his best year ever in 2022? Yeah,
I mean, other than years when he was just dominating like Leicestershire bowling attacks. Yes, definitely, because he was. I do genuinely think he's different gravy when he's good. I don't know if you agree, Tim.
I'm yet to be sold with Ollie Pope. I think there's a lot of talent. He's had a lot of opportunities for very little return. Personally, I think he's got all the ability in the world, but he's probably not shown that at Test level yet. I obviously believe in the Surrey Southern bias of England selection.
Just trust me. If he was from Lancashire, you'd be saying, give him as many tests as he wants.
He averages 30, lad.
Yeah, but he was doing that in that terrible England side, so, you know. Yeah.
He was part of that terrible England side.
Yeah, but it's not his fault he had to come out and face the new ball so consistent. Like, you know, unbelievable. Give Ollie a chance.
No, he's a good player. I mean, I'm not going to have him over Williamson just yet. Call me crazy. But yeah, I think that from a number, I think the number 5 position is going to be. I mean, that's going to be a flip of the coin. I know when you got Daryl Mitchell versus Harry Brook, that's going to be. I think I know where you guys are going to lean, and maybe where the public's going to lean. But for me, we only have to go back to the 3-match series where Daryl Mitchell spent 14 days in the middle digging us out of a hole. Yeah, so I'm going to go Daryl Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I wasn't expecting that, I'm not going to lie.
Because if we're picking a joint side out of these two sides, then you pick the guy who's got England's number at the moment, right? Surely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We don't know what Brooks going to do against New Zealand. Might be his bogey team. And also just I see a lot of myself in Daryl Mitchell, you know? I think Tim would agree. Those moments like yawning and dropping catches at first slip. Because really, you're just there to, I don't know, have a bat, and that's it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I was expecting more on Harry Brook. It's interesting how you didn't have, you weren't fiercely defending Harry Brook like you did Ollie Pope.
Well, yeah, but you know, that's because people need to give Ollie Pope a chance because he's generational talent. I'm not so sure about Harry Brook, but
he only averages 80. Need to pump those numbers up, I think.
Yeah.
Tim, where you sit?
Tim probably wants to come to the defence of Harry Brook, I imagine.
No. I was going to say I'm actually a huge fan of Daryl Mitchell. I think you probably are. We don't all have time to watch every game of Test cricket that's ever on, as much as people would love to. And the games that I've seen of Daryl Mitchell, and in white ball cricket as well, I think he's a really, really good cricketer and a really, really good batsman. There's something about him that I just feel like in the north of England we have pros, so we have the overseas come over and pro, and you have to have a pro in the league. And he just feels like a really, really good pro at club level who's just taken it to this next level, and he just still looks like that on the cricket field. I feel like I can relate to him, like Munter said, a little bit. Not necessarily his yawning and dropping catches at slip, but just the way he goes about his cricket. He's I don't want to use the word, but I'm going to use it. It's quite wholesome. I'm a big fan of the way he goes about it. But on Brook, I do think this guy is a serious talent and could be, up there with Joe Root. I genuinely do believe that. I think we'll see how good he is when he plays in England against a moving ball. He played in Pakistan, the ball did nothing for 3 Test matches, and he scored some wonderful hundreds. But let's wait and see him against a swinging Duke ball, and then we'll know a bit more. So yeah, I'll go with Mitchell as well. I think he's done it. He's done it over and over again for the last couple of years. Big fan of him, and I also quite like bold cricketers. I think there's just something that looks great. So Mitchell.
This is an inclusive cricket team, trying to keep everyone involved.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, like just on Daryl Mitchell, like I've talked about it with the boys, where like he hasn't always been in the main 11. He's sort of been a bits and pieces, and he's filled in every now and then. And he's always struck me as someone that's like really confident in their own abilities. Like he never saw himself as like a B grade cricketer. He always saw himself as a Williamson, a Conway. He saw himself on that level, and then when the opportunity presented itself, he stands up in those big moments, which a lot of people don't. So yeah, I like that on Mitchell. And just on Brook, really interested to hear from an English perspective when Bairstow comes back. Let's say he's back for the Ashes. What's happening with the batting lineup?
Oh, God, who knows? I actually haven't heard a sensible suggestion yet from anyone in the English public. I heard someone talk about Harry Brook going and opening the batting. I mean, he's never opened the batting in first-class cricket once in his life, so I don't know how he's going to do that. How are we going to do it? I think and Munners will probably jump in here and explain why we need Ben Folkes, but I think you drop Folkes, you bring Bairstow in, and you find a way of fitting Brooks, Stokes and Bairstow in at 5, 6, 7. I think Bairstow has a pretty good record at 7, so I wouldn't see a problem with him going there. Bairstow scored 6 Test match hundreds last year. Like that's unheard of. That is a ridiculously good record.
He also missed the Pakistan series where everyone scored 100.
He could have got 9, couldn't he?
He actually could have.
So I think you have to find a way of fitting him in. And I don't think Ben Folkes has done much wrong, to be honest. I think his batting's been better than Buttler when Buttler was in the side. But I think you've got to find a way. These three are sort of generational talents, and you've got to find a way to get them in the team and get them batting in places where they're going to thrive. And shoehorning them in 1, 2 and 3 is not what to do if they've never batted there.
I completely agree, Tim. You've got to drop Jack Leach. I feel like Baz Ball is set up in such a way that we could just have Joe Root as our spinner, drop Jack Leach, and then just bat all the way down to 8 and 9.
That's wild.
I know that it doesn't. I mean, I don't think that's as batshit crazy as it sounds.
It's probably not, it's probably not. Joe Root is a very handy spinner. But it is just if you do get caught against Australia and they dig in and Joe Root's got to bowl 30, 40 overs in an innings, then you're in trouble, I think.
Well, they can put his feet up and, everyone can come up the order, can't they? So they can have a rest after that.
Joe Root at 7.
Joe Root at 7.
You could
7. That's Baz Ball. That's Baz Ball, baby.
You could, because it's probably going to be between. Because I don't think Ollie Pope's quite out of the fire just yet. Because you got, I guess, like Ollie Pope, Harry Brook, and Folkes. It'd be interesting to see what they do while Bairstow's injured. And if one of those guys doesn't perform, then it makes it easier. But if all three perform, that's when things get interesting.
I don't think the plan will be for Bairstow to keep again in an England side. I think it's and just set up everything so the lad can bat and do what he does. I think, and I do think that Baz being a keepers union man will look to pick the best keeper in the country, and Stokes has said it as well. They want folks in the side, so I don't see him as being the guy that they're looking to drop anytime soon. And he's also,
man, it's not that hard, is it?
Oh, Jesus Christ! he's also a lovely sort of counter to what's going on with Baz Ball in terms of the batting lineup, because Folkes comes in and just I think he offers stability there, bit of grubbiness, bit of grittiness with the bat.
It's good to see someone batting properly.
It's almost properly. He's a little because he's got for a man who is aesthetically as beautiful as he is quite a grubby batsman.
That's a good way of putting it.
Can't play fast bowling.
Should we do that? I was going to say, should we pick the keeper while we're here?
Ben Folkes.
Because Ben Folkes, I mean, I was going to say he is the best looking guy in Test cricket right now. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's so hot right now.
Yeah, so he's in. Even though Tom Blundell's scoring heaps of runs, we'll go with Folkes.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
He was the guy at the he was the guy like at the other end with Mitchell, where he batted 13 days. I think.
Nah, I don't remember him.
No, not sure. Must have been a couple of dodgy DRS decisions, hasn't it?
No, I don't remember Tom Blundell.
Nah,
Blundell. Blundell?
Blundell. Let me Google him.
Unbelievable. Right, on that note, we'll do our all rounder, which is obviously going to be Michael Bracewell. Any objections there?
Tim, I'm not sure. I mean, what we
got?
Stokes. Yes.
Stokes,
that's right. He's not bad, is he? Can I jump in on the Stokes Flintoff debate that you guys had on
Yes.
on your show
Yes.
the other
Yes.
week, because I was thinking about that. I was listening to your podcast. Very good. Check it out. Stokes is obviously the better batter. Flintoff's the better bowler. I think Flintoff's a little overrated. I think he can turn it up every now and then, but you just don't get it as often as you think. I think the longer the 2005 Ashes is from now, it sticks out like a sore thumb. There's not a lot of other good stuff around it. You know, the over against Callis is overrated. The guy couldn't see.
I agree with you there. That was is Callis just being a bit soft like.
I don't think it's anywhere near the Ponting over, but that's just me. So yeah, I'll go Stokes. Stokes against Flintoff.
A lot of the Flintoff being better than Stokes is such a romantic selection for a lot of lads of a certain age, a lot of lads and ladies from a certain age, because 2005, and I don't know if New Zealand have had a summer like it or ever will have a summer like we had in 2005, where everything was simpler and people were happy because all they cared about was cricket. It was on terrestrial TV, it was on free-to-air TV, so people it was just eyes on cricket, and open top bus parade for winning in Ashes. That will never happen again. So when you look about in the same way that Baz Ball is revolutionising Test cricket at the moment, that was a cricketing revolution, and it was hugely based on Mr. Andrew Freddie Flintoff.
It was, yeah. I think, the reason for the bias, or I'd rather Stokes or Flintoff over Stokes, is not necessarily cricketing. It's more the character, and the reason why a lot of people of our age actually got into cricket or enjoyed cricket was Flintoff. Like, he was the gateway drug for a lot of us. So I think that's where a lot of people would maybe go, "Oh, I'll take Flintoff." But I in terms of cricket, I don't think there's actually a debate. I think Stokes is better. He's done more.
And describing Flintoff as a gateway drug means that Baz Ball is me round the back of a car park bin, injecting straight into my veins.
Just double dropping cricket.
Yeah, it's a serious problem.
Brilliant. I was thinking, because when you're talking about that 2005, when all eyes were on cricket, for Kiwi fans, that was probably the 2015 World Cup.
I don't actually remember that one.
No, I tell you what. To be fair, that was a very important juncture in England cricket. That was the turning
Huge
point.
moment.
You don't get. I don't think you get Baz Ball without that World Cup.
Well, no, you don't.
I'll tell you what. If you did a little TikTok on that, if you took us through why Baz Ball exists from the 2015 World Cup.
The butterfly effect, you should actually. That's good. So what was it like in New Zealand then in that 2015? Because you did have this sort of swashbuckling side, didn't you?
Well, I went to that game, that England game, where they got absolutely poleaxed, and the game was over by lunchtime. Like, they had lunch when I think New Zealand needed about 10 runs to win. So it was like you felt, but it was like the crowd was electric. Like, Southey was just like he was on something, and then McCullum was just absolutely smashed them everywhere. It just it did sweep the nation. It felt like, I remember the final. Like, we're in town. We're all dressed in whites. We're just happy to be there, just like the players were, apparently. Yeah, no, it was pretty special looking back.
Wouldn't mind those kookaburras getting looked at that New Zealand got given for when they were bowling, because Jesus Christ, it goes sideways.
Yeah, wasn't doing as much for Stephen Finn, that's for sure.
That's because it was in your pint. So did you go to the MCG in whites? Is that what you're saying?
No. We just went we went into town to a pub and things
your
like that.
Your local town?
Yeah.
That's even weirder.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's we're weird. We're weird cookies. I think we did a ceremonial burning of an Australian jumper.
Oh my
God. Very tribal.
Yeah, it didn't work, obviously. But that's all right.
But that semi must have been special. Was it Elliot scoring?
Yeah, it was, because it was like, who the hell's Elliot? Where's this come from? McCullum just pumping it, and obviously that South African team was pretty special as well. Vittori he got that 4 at the end. South Africa dropping all those catches, missing runouts. Just classic South Africa. Yeah, no, it was pretty special stuff. Pretty special stuff indeed. Nothing like, of course, another World Cup we won't talk about. But yeah, what about the bowlers there, fellas? Because this is where it gets pretty interesting. You got no Bolt, no Wood, no Archer. Got the return of Kyle Jamieson. On the New Zealand side, we've got the new skipper Tim Southee, Matt Hearney, Neil Wagner. And, of course, in England, we've got Anderson, Broad, Robinson, and the Williamson whisperer, Matthew Potts. For spinners, you've got Leach, East and Bracewell, who was obviously our all-rounder. But, look, I'm going to be up front. I can't pick a spinner. There's no way I'm telling any of these fast bowlers that they aren't playing because of Jack Leach. So
I just can't pick a spinner because it's
just by right.
It's just a waste of a position. Tim, you're gonna have to think about whether we pick one in our side because I don't know. I'm going to take some convincing.
It is really difficult. I know the players that Matt's just listed off there. There's some serious bowlers and some serious bowlers that won't even get a look in, will they? Like Matt Henry, I don't think he gets a look in at all, but he's a great bowler. It is going to be really difficult to pick a spinner. I don't actually know about the wickets and whether they'll take spin. If I was going to pick one of those three, I think in terms of as a spinner, I'd go Ish Sodhi just because it does something a bit different. And he'll attack and maybe take a few wickets. But I think you might look at playing Bracewell as an all rounder, but you've got Stokes, so you don't need to.
You've got Root your spinner.
Yeah, Williamson, he's not a bad spinner. He'll do a job, won't he? He'll hold it end up.
Chucks it. That's why he doesn't bowl anymore.
Oh, he's not. He's absolutely not allowed. I remember he used to not be allowed.
No, I don't know if he might, but I don't know. He
more
doesn't want to
the guy is just the worst bloke.
He's a grub, isn't he, that Williamson?
He's just terrible.
Fucking damn him and his perfect beard.
Yeah, it's a nice beard, though, isn't it? Has he got any sponsorships out there with beard oil?
Not that I know of. He's a pretty quiet character. Not very active on the socials.
Is he not? Big on Snap.
Yeah.
He's got to be real. It's great.
If he our white whale on the Maximum Crew podcast, Kate Williamson. Maybe one day.
No, I think it's very difficult to pick a spinner. You look at the gulf in quality between seamers and spinners. I think you're right. You're going 4 seamers. I don't think England or New Zealand will go 4 seamers, but for the purpose of this, let's do it.
We've got a pink ball test first up, haven't we? So
yeah, we got pink ball test first up. The Mount Maunganui. If any pitch is going to spin, it's probably that one, but it's a day nighter. It's pink ball, so I don't know how that's going to work. Yeah, I mean, I've gone Jamieson, Robinson, Southee, and Anderson. For me, yeah, I've got Jamieson, Robinson. They both average less than 20. Jimmy Anderson, there's an argument he's bowling as well as he's ever bowled. And Tim Southee, I mean, he's the leader of the attack for New Zealand. I just want to throw something out there. No Stuart Broad. What's the feeling like in the UK? Has Robinson, is he ahead of Broad?
I'll tell you my feeling, Matt. Stuart Broad's been stealing a living for years. He's been bowling at the other end to James Anderson for a very long time. I wouldn't have minded if Broad stepped out the way 4 years ago. And I thought the summer just gone where Potts got dropped for Stuart Broad to come back in was really, really sad and a genuine shame because I don't, as much as everyone around me will tell me, and Tim will probably tell me that Stuart Broad is actually in fantastic bowler and his legs are pumping and it's one of those spells. I just don't buy into the hyperbole that surrounds that man, and I don't want you to throw statistics at me. I don't want to be told that I'm wrong because actually his strike rate's one of the best in world cricket. I just don't care. He doesn't fill me with joy as a cricketer, and I think it's about time that we let Robinson and Potts crack on with it. And when Archie comes back, I don't see how Broad gets in that lineup. Yeah, again, I'm going to get so many DMs.
No. I mean, you will, Munners, but I think you do actually make a really good point. Like, if you're bowling at the other end to James Anderson, you're going to pick up a lot of wickets. You are. I do think you're probably underplaying how good Broad is, but I think you need a bit of variety in the attack. And Robinson, okay, he's fairly similar to Broad, but he's a bit quicker. He gets a bit more bounce. He bowls those wobble seams a little bit more. And I actually think England will probably go with Stone. They like to go with a quick bowler as well, just a little bit of a point of difference. So I think we'll probably go with Robinson, Anderson and Stone for that first test, I would imagine. Just so there's a little bit extra pace. But yeah, I don't think Stuart Broad walks back into this side, especially as he didn't play in Pakistan. But he's not a bad guy to have around.
Except when he doesn't get picked, and then he releases a column, or he does an interview on Sky Sports about him getting dropped and things like that. So
is when he's out there liking tweets of journalists who are saying, "How could they have dropped the amazing Stuart Broad?" You know?
Yeah. I mean, when he's right, when everything's right with Stuart Broad, it's at that moment spells. He's like one of the best bowlers that's ever lived. Like when he's going through like the 8 for 15 or that 6 for in South Africa, or even just that like he turned one of the tests against New Zealand, and he has those moments, but you just feel like they're few and far between now. And when you've got like you got Robinson, who's like genuinely world class. Like you said, when Mark Wood's back, when Archer's back, I don't know how he fits in that team. Like if he's happy to just be in the squad and play when applicable, then that's fine. But
I don't think he is. I think he. I don't know him personally, obviously, because I wouldn't be saying these things. But he doesn't strike me as the kind of cricketer who's comfortable with the idea of being in a squad. And I genuinely think that's probably quite an interesting bit of coaching for Baz to manage the retirement of Stuart Broad, because I don't think it's that far away. I don't know if you disagree, Tim, but
not necessarily. We've been saying it for a few years about both Broad and Anderson, but they do seem to sort of keep churning on and doing a great job. I just think with Broad, our sentiment as a pair here is probably quite different to the British cricket public. Like he's genuinely is loved by them. He's got a lot of friends in the media. A lot of them like him, write about him all the time, pump up his tyres and things like that. And I'm going to say that as a member of a pub podcast and independent sort of cricket channel. Like, I think there's a huge media bias towards Stuart Broad, and that rubs off on the public. I think he's very good, but I don't think he's as good as people have made out, especially not in the last year or so. I think, like you said, there are better options out there for England, better options that are going to help us win test matches. But as soon as he's left out the side, there's all of a sudden a huge blow up. Why is Stuart Broad not playing? He should be playing, etc. So
it's one of those things, Tim, isn't it? The British public refer to him as Broady exclusively.
Yeah,
like the Old Trafford, right? Were you going to talk about Old Trafford, Tim?
Yeah, but I'll let you do it, don't worry.
Yeah, so we're Old Trafford's home of the GOAT of seam bowling, James Anderson. James Anderson bowling from the James Anderson end, and I would say it's lively, but it's not over the top. People are excited. It's like, oh, Jimmy's bowling, but then all of a sudden Stuart Broad comes on. And I've never heard a noise like it at a cricket ground. People are banging things, getting up, clapping hands. Oh, Broadie's on his knees, are pumping, he's flying. Jesus Christ. I don't understand. I don't understand why people are so riled up by Stuart Broad. But it's like Tim says, it's rammed down your throat that you have to love him. It was bizarre. It's bizarre. There you go. Sorry, mate. I feel like it's a therapy session now.
No, that's all right. So we're here. We're here for you. We're here for you.
I just needed someone in a Kiwi accent to tell me that today, actually.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So it's fair to say Stuart Broad doesn't make your bowlers list. Is that fair?
We've cleared that up.
Yep. Okay. Fair enough. Righto, boys. So predictions for the series: 2 tests, one in Mount Maunganui, pink ball, one at Wellington, which will be relatively spicy, pretty bouncy. What are you picking?
2-0 England.
2-0 England. Okay, fair. I mean the favourites. Fair enough. Tim?
I think you'll try hard and will appreciate the company out there on the field, but you're going to get Baz Ball.
Yeah, I think 2-0 as well. I don't think there'll be a draw like last time. I think it was quite a turgid series last time around, wasn't it? With BJ Watling settling in for days upon end. I don't think we'll get that this time around. I think England have just got the boulder rolling, and I think that'll keep going.
Okay, fair enough. I'm obviously going to zag a little bit, and I'm going a 1-0 New Zealand victory.
Love it. There's not going to be a draw.
Hear me out. So the thing about Baz Ball is no one knows how to prepare for it except a team that's about to play them for their second time. So we've seen it. We've gone away. We're going to have some different plans. I'm going to suggest, maybe we bowl like a bit more like T20, 1 days field sort of thing rather than Test cricket, because we're not preparing for a Test series. We're preparing for a Baz Ball series. So I think we blindside you in the first Test with a Baz Ball, with the pink ball Test. We win that one, but then the second Test, you guys come roaring back with your class. But unfortunately, the Wellington, the base reserve, our pitches get flatter and flatter and flatter, and we're going to bat 2.5 days for a draw and win the series. And that's going to give you guys the kick up the arse to win the Ashes.
I don't hate that narrative. I also love the idea that there's people in lab coats at the moment prepping for Baz Ball. just trying to figure it out. They've got teams of thousands of Kiwis trying to figure it out. But you know what's coming, but you just can't stop it. It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's like COVID.
It will get you.
It's got to get you.
Yeah, can't test for Baz Ball though.
Because I think, because I was thinking about the Ashes moving forward. Because Australia are going to be quite sort of arrogant in the way, like, our bowlers are different. Like Baz Ball's whacked every other bowling attack in the world, but our bowlers are different. So I actually think you guys Baz Ball the shit out of them.
Yeah, I agree with that idea that they'll be a bit more. Just hit top of off. We'll do what we do, relentless, Australia, and then they'll get Baz Balled. But you're right, New Zealand will be more thoughtful and humble.
Lastly, I got one last question for you boys, and I'll let you go. What's the most important thing for an English fan? Winning the Ashes, the World Test Championship, or winning the World Cup again?
That's a good one, that. This year for me, winning that Ashes, I think is that's the most important. But if you'd asked me 4 years ago in 2019, I would have said winning the World Cup, 100%. So it does change. But this year, if we win the Ashes, that'll be more important to me than winning that World Cup.
Yeah, I also think there's a lot more on the line than just English cricket. I think we're talking a potential death of Test match cricket if Australia win the Ashes.
No, they won't be the death. It's just 3 teams playing Test cricket from after this.
Yeah.
We do need to sort that out, don't we?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
These things happen.
Too nice, man.
Yeah. We gave you a coach, we gave you a captain, and you can make us extinct as well.
Maybe we could do like a Lions tour once every few years when we have a conjoint England and New Zealand team.
We'll just play county cricket.
Oh yeah, there you go. Nice,
brilliant.
Steve will get you out.
Yeah, Steve-O's gonna get you.
Right. Anything else you boys want to touch on?
No, I think we're set. Thanks for having us on, Matt. It's been class.
No, mate, thanks very much for having us on. Absolutely loved it. I'm looking forward to this series. Obviously not going to catch much of it because it's through the night. But I think it will be a good series. And like I said, it'd be quite interesting to see what New Zealand do to try and stem the Baz Ball flow. So looking forward to it. Maybe catch up in a couple of weeks or something.
Yeah, we'll do a debrief or something like that. And no, it should be good. No, this has been fantastic, boys. Thanks very much for joining the show. If you want to follow Dealt With, I'll link them in the show notes. You definitely should. They're good stuff. They're a good laugh, and they've got some good stuff coming up with the Ashes and whatnot. So yeah, boys, been a pleasure, and we'll catch up soon.
Nice one.
Nice one, pal.
As discussed last week, we had an incredible draft. Another really deep draft with chocolate blocks taking the centre stage. And look, it was another close contest between three titans of the snack game, the big three, if you will. Myself and Jacko were tied at the top with 38% of the votes each. And for the second draft in a row, we've had to go to TikTok for the decider. And this gave Jacko the slight edge to take his first W of the snack draft season. Jacko, a few words as the current champion and also your pick for snack of the week.
Yeah, good to get back on top. Took a bit of heat for the chips and lolly selection during those weeks. So
A bit of heat online sort of thing.
Yeah, just around the boys. Spinning tops especially went down like a lead balloon. So it's tough to take, but
still copping it, eh?
Good to just sort of have a bit of self-reflection, get back on the horse, draft well, get the scouting team back in line. Like, it was good for the scouting department to get that across the line. Because we were close to firing a few people. So good to get the building back on track. And then we'll go for arguably another very, very strong category here, and we'll go biscuits. Sort of just your packet of biscuits from the biscuit aisle at the supermarket. So I believe that puts Simon Cromedy on the clock.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Biscuits, they're a tough one. Like, are they a snack you necessarily grab if you're going down to the soupy? Probably not.
Not all the time.
But will you have two, as a young fella, you come home from school, you grab a glass of milk, you have a couple that slips away and suddenly you've had a packet? Yeah, you'll do that a lot. Dangerously good. A lot of options. A lot of options. I'll first honourable mention, I can't draft at number one, but if I could, I would. And that's Grandma's homemade.
Yeah.
Chocolate chippy cookie round at Grandma's. I'd say that's actually one of the biscuits' great strength, though. It's a real homemade staple.
Yeah.
Especially just out of the oven when it sort of melts in your mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nothing like getting to Grandma's, knowing the biscuit tin, picking it up, bit of weight to it. There's going to be something good inside.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'll start us off and let me know if this isn't eligible, and sort of, as I say, it's only something I didn't grow up with them, didn't rate them particularly highly, and now they're my sort of go-to biscuit, sort of one of the big global ones, maybe not a huge one as big over here in New Zealand, but obviously still a bit of a titan worldwide, and I'm going to go your classic Oreo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my board.
Yeah, it sort of just slowly but surely became my number one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great pick. I had it very high.
It's quite diverse. Like, you can just eat it normally, or you can take the tops off.
Yeah,
sort of eat the middle. There's so many different ways. Like,
it's quite often, as we've talked about. Well, I have personally talked about before. That price point, you can quite often get them for $1, which is just dangerous.
Oh, you can get them for a sickening amount of money. Yeah, like just you're nutting a whole sleeve for $1.
I was going to say, they are one that absolutely slip away on you and the sleeve's gone in 20 minutes. Like top.
Yeah.
I mean, well, speaking of one that can just, like, it's impossible to have one or two in one go. It's a real sort of, like, I wouldn't have them a lot, but when I have them, oh my God, I tell you what, it just takes me back to when I was a kid. Like, I don't know if it's underrated. I think it's underrated as an adult and probably properly rated as a kid. I'm going hundreds and thousands.
Yeah, fuck.
Wow.
That was going next.
Yeah, I've actually got a packet. for tonight for editing. Got that excited. That was always my number one. Pretty grateful that obviously Jacko wasn't number one. I knew he'd take it. So
They are so, and as you said, they are dangerously underrated as an adult.
like, you don't go to work with hundreds and thousands. It's like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the sort of thing you take to work with a wee packet, but
well, it's got a childish look to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and don't let that fool you, because
No.
it's a real sort of it's a great sort of bicky. So pretty happy to sort of pick that one up.
Yeah, that's a great pickup. Tough spot to draft, I think. Here, there's a lot on the board, but there's a lot that might not swing back round to me. I'll just have to go a Tim Tam double stuffed.
Bit of a Kiwi staple.
Yeah, very, very good. There wouldn't be many people that don't like a Tim Tam, and I reckon it would be a lot of people's favourite bicky. And then
Is Tim Tam double stuffed? Is that the original, or is double stuffed its own flavour?
I think double stuff's got a bit more of the moussey filling as opposed to the biscuit. I think.
Yeah, gotcha.
Double, I reckon.
Yeah, sort of a roughly double of the stuffing, Matthew.
Yeah, all right.
And then my next pick, I'm going to go something a little bit out the gate. I'm going to go your tiny titties.
That was going to be mine.
Oh, that's a great pick. I didn't even have them on the board. I forgot about that. That really takes me back.
Tiny titty choc chip. Honestly, name a better thing to get in your lunchbox at school. They hit so fucking hard, and they are so tasty.
I was genuinely going to have a big spiel about like how you forget them as an adult, but like it's got to be one of the great things about being a parent is the fact that you can buy tiny titties again, give one to your kid, and just nut the packet.
Just the one.
Genuinely exceptional, man.
Harvey's a little young. I haven't quite got that. So yeah, like, he's still baby food and baby snacks, and they're pretty average, to be fair. So I'm really looking forward to when he gets a little older.
The baby snack draft will be tough. Will be an easy one for you then.
It's like a whole board of Anthony Bennett's.
Yeah.
I'm a genuine after a run, if I do a big run, like an actual comp, sort of, that is one of my absolute go-to post runs is a box of tiny titties.
Oh, they are so good. And speak about getting away from you, a box of tiny titties is like similar to a box of shapes, just gone at pace.
I just didn't think that would come up, and I thought I'd be able to grab it.
Yeah, there's a few on this list, and I've taken a big call there at my second pick, but I'm very, very happy with it.
That's tough. So I've got a couple of question marks here under a few cookies. Because they come in packets, but they're not supermarket. Like you're talking. Can we count? Do we? Those like Christmas buckets from Cookie Time?
Ooh.
Do they count?
Yeah, I'll give it.
I'll give it because Cookie Time's a pretty Kiwi staple, isn't it?
Yeah. I've got Cookie Times on my list, so I'll give you any variation of Cookie Time you like.
It'd almost be illegal to not draft the Cookie Time in this country, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go the Cookie Time triple chocolate.
Yeah. I had it there, sitting right there actually.
Yeah. So I wasn't 100% sure if that was going to be allowed. So good to have that. And I think, like I said, Cookie Time, it's a staple of New Zealand household. But it's a great, like Christmas time, you don't really have a lot of Cookie Times throughout the year, but I tell you what, when Christmas time comes around, a couple of buckets, normally get a wee triple choc, and actually I won't name the other ones just in case someone else gets it, but there's a few good options here.
Special feeling that time of year too, like in the office.
Yes.
The Cookie Time lady comes, the sheet comes into the office, into the break room, and you just know, basically, a couple of samples, you pick your triple choc, you pick your other flavour for the year, and you just know you're on that downhill slide till Christmas.
And you've got that built-in excuse because it's Christmas time, like you can really just gorge your way, which is just brilliant.
It's Christmas, I'll have a bucket. Yeah,
and
great.
It's very similar to how you'd never have 3 pies, but you will have 48 savouries. Like, you'll never have 3 Cookie Times, like proper Cookie Times, but you'll have a box of the minis.
That's exactly how it goes. Perfect.
So this mean I've got 2 on the trot here to finish me out.
2 on the bounce. Yeah, Perks have been number 1.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter what order I go, but there's a bit on the board. I'm going to go. I don't know how popular these are, but for me, they're nothing short of exceptional. And that's the Cadbury Choc Centre cookies.
Okay.
I'll send through a photo if you're not familiar with them, but they're basically absolutely exceptional. They've basically just got like chocolate right through the centre. If you microwave them for 20
That's a good sign.
they're brilliant. So very happy to have them on board because they're probably my go-to bicky these days. And then last of all, can I get Jacko's top pick from previous rounds and get the countdown 5-pack?
Yeah. I had something like that on my board.
One of the great cookies that actually.
Yeah, I think they're starting to get the
traction they deserve.
Should. Yeah.
Are you getting the choc chip ones?
Yeah, people are starting to really to find them. So, and that's encouraging. I'd like to think we've got something to do with that.
Yeah, Countdown, reach out if you want to get those cookies moving.
Countdown would be a good sponsor for Snack of the Week.
Not the Mornington Countdown, wouldn't?
Yeah.
Nah.
No chance it is not the worst countdown in New Zealand.
It's a shocker.
We've got a contender up. We've got a contender up here.
Morgan Days came out of the supermarket today, and only Morgan Day can say these sort of things. He said, "Why is there no food there?"
If you don't have any food, it's pretty tough to operate as a supermarket.
A supermarket.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Right, gee, there's a lot on the board, eh? Like you say that, I feel like we're saying this every week, but
things keep going this way. We might have to just like redraft a few of these with everything off the board, maybe.
Do like a big second round sort of thing, like come back the next day, sort of thing.
Yeah, day 2.
Look, I'm gonna go to Coupland's.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go because they have those sort of packets, a few options. There's some good ones there. So I'm going to go a wee 6-pack of Belgian biscuits. That's me. I feel like it's a love-hate relationship. That's why I had it sort of my bottom pick. Personally, big fan of Belgian biscuits. A good Belgian biscuit it's a real high ceiling, low floor sort of biscuit. If you get a good Belgian biscuit, it's right up there for me. So, give me Coupland's Belgian biscuits.
Don't mind that bit of diversity as well.
Yeah,
I think we need that.
I've got 4 sort of big options here, and I'll go through the other 3 that I don't pick afterwards, just so we can sort of hear them out. But I reckon I'm gonna go back to the bicky you might have forgot, which is the iced animal.
I was looking at them before. But I still love me.
Yeah, they are still very, very good. Had a box the other week. Just very tasty. Love to get the shapes in there. Love to get the colours. Exceptional ice animals to round me out.
What I like is we've found out Jacko's scouting team is just a bunch of 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I mean, I don't know if he's looked up the demographic we've got on Instagram, and if he's found out that like it's between 5 and 10-year-old, and that's why he's gone with his selections.
These are going to pull right on the nostalgia thing.
Yeah,
for a lot of people though.
Either a lot of kids follow us and I'm winning, or people are heavy in their nostalgia.
Yeah.
I had very close to drafting the caramelized white chocolate toffee pop. If you haven't had that, that might be like one of the best alternatives from an original cookie on the market. It's fucking outstanding.
I'll tell you what I had is like my number one sort of cookie, but I didn't think it fitted the bill. But the Subway cookies.
Wow.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Obviously, that's one of one. Yeah.
Yeah, like I like the M&M because it's like you do get a package, like you get a foot long, you add a combo, you add a couple, you have the cookies on the way home, and then you have your Subway. That's sort of how it's sort of.
Yeah, one of the few meals you'll have sweet first. The Subway box, the Subway meal deal.
Very interesting. One of the great ways of absolutely ruining your good intentions is chucking in a 600 ml and a couple of cookies up.
And all the bad sauce options too.
Oh, yeah. If you're not having 19 sauces, don't do it.
Oh, yeah. I had the humble mint slice as well, just as an honourable mention, sort of missing out, which is just staple. Always hits and always hits well.
If I could throw out one honourable mention, and this may surprise people because this is a bit of a countdown special, is that, you know that cheap range they do? But that rocky road they do of the cheek range is
Okay.
actually exceptional.
Yeah. There's some great bickies out there.
Plus, just a humble mellow puff is
Yeah.
going to be high on my board.
Yeah, I had Mallow Puff written down. I had Pam's Finest as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a real up and coming brand. That Pam's Finest is quickly becoming one of my favourite bickies.
Yeah, the Pam's Finest choc chip, very good.
Yeah, I was gonna get it, but I think when you took Tiny Teddy's choc chip, I thought I didn't want to go choc chip again, so I moved on. But didn't want to repeat a Blondie last week. It might have cost you then. I think that's cost you in the end.
I was quite confident with my chockies as well.
I was as well, actually. I was surprised it went how it did, if I'm honest. I thought mine was pretty shit. But there you go. But no, I'm pretty confident with this one. Hopefully,
Fuck, there was, just looking back, there was plenty on the board when you picked Kit Kat Milo.
yeah,
Just quietly.
yeah, I know, yeah.
Like, we're talking Caramello, missed out.
Caramello, yeah, that was on my board.
Yeah.
And I kind of fucked that one up, but
I'm gutted I didn't have 19 picks because I would have loved to sneak in the Rolo. I love a block of Rolo. I think so underrated.
I had that on my board, 100%.
Rolo, very, very good.
Yeah.
We're just going down a real tangent here, eh?
Oh, these things happen.
Day 2 of the chocolate draft will be good eating.
Yeah, that's us for another week, team. Thanks again to Lugsy and Jacko for joining us. Massive shout out to Dealt for joining the show and also getting up pretty early to make it happen. But of course, the biggest thanks goes to the listeners who tune in every week to make it happen. Big week next week. We have the second test between India and Australia, the first test between New Zealand and England, the Women's T20 World Cup, and the Ford Trophy concludes also. Going to be a massive one, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.